All right, man, peace. So now there has been another development in the Jemele Hill ESPN storyline. When last we addressed it, ESPN had decided to reassign Miss Jemele Hill. We won't call it a demotion because I doubt that there was a reduction in her salary, but she was taken out of the spotlight. Why is that? Because as I told you brothers from the start, she was fucking with their money and she was fucking with her own money. But she didn't realize that until the end. That is why, once again, like I always tell you brothers regarding a liberal black woman, she talks just long enough to get her attention, but not long enough to lose her money. And now in the latest development, Mr. Michael Smith is now giving the rundown on what occurred behind the scenes, which is pretty much as I figured what was going on. And that is ESPN was not going to allow the liberal woke movement to sabotage their network. And that's what was going to occur had they left Jemele Hill and Michael Smith to their own devices. Once again, the liberal Negro is like a child. You have to save them from themselves because they don't have a three-dimensional thought process. They don't have a grasp of what's going to be the end result of their confrontational type of conversation. On their planet, they can point the finger at the Caucasian and say, you, and then say on the back end, how come you don't love me? You're never going to get love from someone who you're always accusing of doing something that, quite frankly, they didn't do. As I tell you, brothers, incessantly, the so-called white man and woman in America, for the most part, are the progeny of white trash. Many of them did not even own slaves. Okay? And the issue regarding slavery is never going to be resolved with them. The so-called black man is going to have to come to resolution within himself and concentrate on building himself up and thereafter trying to build up what's left of the mind of his woman, man. That's what your focus need to be on. It don't need to be on trying to point the finger at the Caucasian man and woman and say, you had us in slavery and we want reparations. You're not going to get reparations. So stop talking about that. Like Shannon Sharp, he used to get on TV and say, well, how come, Skip, when the Jews complain about the Holocaust, they can get money? Because they run the banks, Negro. They understand the money system. When so-called black people understand the money system, then they can reimburse themselves. The Caucasian Jews literally are paying themselves because they control the flow of the currency. But our people don't operate on that level. They operate on an emotional level. But getting back to Jemele Hill, that's why she had to be reassigned. Because first, she decided to go on social media and attack the president, the person who is coming up with the new tax reform bill. Well, her stupid ass, not understanding that he can take a heavy chunk out of ESPN. And number two, she decides that she's going to advocate for fans to no longer buy products from the sponsors of the Dallas Cowboys, who are part and parcel to the NFL and therefore a business partner of ESPN. So of course, ESPN is going to shut down the rhetoric of Michael Smith and Jemele Hill. They are mouthpieces that were hurting themselves and they didn't understand that. So now Michael Smith has decided to come out and admit that they got shut down by ESPN brass, as I told you brothers they were going to do. So let's read some of this article. Anti-Trump ESPN star Jemele Hill's former co-host. They silenced us. And listen to him. He's trying to act like he's Huey P. Newton or something. They silenced us. Well, first off, how could they silence you? I thought you was free. Why don't you just leave ESPN and form your own, website or something like that? You, Michael Smith, you can go on YouTube and form your own channel. You get 100, 200,000 subscribers like that. Why don't you do that since you're such a liberator, right? You're not scared of the white man, right? That's what the woke Negroes always say. They're not scared of the white man. Why you got to stay at ESPN for and get silenced? You know why? Because you got to keep that check coming in. Plus, that wife of yours will tell you, look, nigga, you can go to work and play them games with Jemele all day. You better make sure that this mortgage is getting paid, or I'm going to run you through the white man's court system and really embarrass you. All right, that's how that goes. But let's see what he has to say. And Jemele Hill just need to be his second wife. She might as well. Because, I mean, we know it ain't going to work in the long run with the trainer. She might as well just be Michael Smith's second wife. I don't know what the problem is with that. It says here on the inset, Michael Smith has accused ESPN of muting former co-host Jemele Hill. And good for them. They finally did something that most of you so-called black men should be doing, which is muting the liberal black woman. She need to be put on mute. Remember that scene in Mo Better Blues when Denzel's character was at the piano and the light-skinned chick, Clark, she kept trying to talk to him and distract him, and then all of a sudden she was muted. He couldn't hear her. That's what every productive man has to be able to do to the liberal woman. You got to be able to mute them, because if not, you're not going to get anything accomplished. But let's see what they have to say here. The former co-host of outspoken anti-Trump ESPN personality Jemele Hill has slammed the sports cable network, saying the duo was silenced once Hill got caught up in a national controversy with a series of divisive tweets. Once again, when you have access to social media like Twitter, Facebook, Snapchat, you have access to the world depending on your notoriety. Jemele Hill dumbass actually said, "I wonder if I wasn't on ESPN, would it have been as big a deal?" That's how dumb she is and how little understanding she has of scope and influence. That's why I say I compare the liberal Negro, especially the liberal black woman, to a 5-year-old trying to drive a car. They have all that power and they don't know what the hell they doing with it. And they're going to get somebody hurt, including possibly themselves. Hill hosted the urban version of SportsCenter. Look at it, it says the urban version. Well, this is the Fox News website, so I mean, what do you expect? It says Hill hosted the urban version. I guess that's the blackety version. That's the hip hop version of SportsCenter, branded as SC6, with Michael Smith, her good friend who once refused to anchor the show with a replacement while Hill was suspended. Well, he didn't have a choice because he was caught in the woke rabbit hole. So if Michael Smith decided that he was going to choose a replacement for Jemele Hill while she was gone, he would have got hit up on Twitter. "Why you selling out the sister like that? You a sellout. How could you do that to the sister? The black queen, that's God right there. How could you do that to..." So he was all caught up in his fake Black Panther shit. And when I say Black Panther, I'm not talking about the movie, the comic book character. I'm talking about Huey P. Newton and Eldridge Cleaver and that, you know. They really like these niggas, these liberal niggas, like they really think that they're reinvigorating that spirit. But Smith on James Andrew Miller's Origins podcast discussed what occurred behind the scenes at ESPN. In the interview that was taped before Hill left the show, he explained that SC6 was created because of the natural chemistry between the co-hosts, but they were forced to dial back the dialogue. No, you were not. You guys were forced to dial back the rhetoric, not the dialogue. It's a big difference. Dialogue is an exchange of conversation between two or more people. Rhetoric is when you're going off on rants and soliloquies about topics that are not congruent to what your job is, which is talking about sports. That's why they reeled you back. It's like an actor who has a script and he's going off on his own ad libs. You have certain actors who can do it because they start to embody the character. And then you have certain actors who they tell you what, stick to the script. Okay? That's your job. And it got to be way too much, especially with the Kaepernick shit. It was like, 3-4 segments they talking about Kaepernick. And then you get a sports highlight for 5 minutes. The other 55 minutes they talking about Kaepernick. And then looking in the camera saying, "I can't believe white people don't understand why we like..." Dude, just shut the fuck up and give me the damn score. Okay? I don't care about what you think about social issues. 90% of Negroes in America don't even know what race they are. I don't want to hear about you. I don't want to hear your bullshit. Your fake ass Luciferian Martin Luther King lets everybody hold hands and love each other. But before we do that, let me accuse you of everything. white man and white woman is your fault, your fault, your fault. Even though the biggest demographic of football viewership are Caucasian conservatives from middle America. And you think that they're not going to lash back. Like Trump said, ESPN has been losing subscribers. And that started back about 5 years ago when they decided they were going to jump on the Michael Sam bandwagon. They attempted to push and promote homosexuality in football. That didn't work. Then it was, we're going to give Caitlyn Jenner, formerly Bruce Jenner, the Courage Award. That's when they first started to go down the shithole, to be quite frank with you. That's when they first started to lose subscribers. Then they came with the Kaepernick stuff. So this was just Marxist movement after Marxist movement after Marxist movement. People got tired of it. And now they're going to have to reel back the liberalism, because that's what the liberal will do. They'll keep pushing to see what the limit is. And then when you say no, then they'll reel it back. And that's what the so-called black man has to do. You have to reject a lot of these liberal philosophies. That pro-homo shit, the pro-feminist stuff, you have to reject that. If you don't reject it, they're going to keep going further and further and further. That's what they do. So once you show that you're going to accept homosexuality, then they'll say, okay, well, how about transgender? Then you accept transgender. That's okay. How about pedophilia? Right? That's how they do it. There's no limit for them. So that's what ESPN finally did to Michael Smith and Jemele Hill. They said, no, we're not tolerating this because you're starting to fuck with our money. You have to be quiet. You have no plan. All right. When you listen to their rhetoric on national TV, it was, there's nothing wrong with Colin Kaepernick getting on one knee. And why should we be the ones to have to come with the solution? White people should have to come with the solution. When you start saying that, now you're starting to harass people. Because I felt harassed. I'm not even Caucasian. Because I don't want the so-called white man to solve my problems, because I don't want him trying to take the credit. You understand? I don't want him trying to take the credit for my accomplishments. And the proof that so-called black people are confused about that is this situation with the Boston Police Department and Red Auerbach. Right? You said that you don't want Red Auerbach to get any type of notoriety during so-called Black History Month. Well, then you should stop asking white people to assist you in solving your problems. That's how that works. It says here, there was a time we weren't even talking to each other on air anymore. Yeah, that's what's happening right now. Go ahead and watch The Six. Michael Smith don't even talk anymore. All he does is throw it to some other field reporters to get their input on what's going on at their location. They're not allowed to talk anymore. Straight up. Or Michael Smith's not allowed to talk. So I believe that Michael Smith is spilling the beans because he's trying to find his exit strategy. He's trying to figure out what he wants to do. He's probably putting out feelers, maybe Fox Sports 1 or whatever. But I don't think he's going to be at ESPN for much longer. Like, no more Michael and Jemele, not less, not here and there. No more Michael and Jemele talking. No more of their commentary. It's just strictly live shots and analysis. That's what pissed me off so much. Well, what should have pissed you off so much is that you didn't have the foresight to understand that when you get on TV to promote race-driven rhetoric, which is your right, you can do that, but then you have to be able to deal with the consequences. Before you decide to do something like that, you should consider what the repercussions are going to be. It's like you could hate homosexuality, but if you decide to go into the workplace and stand on top of your desk and say, I hate faggots, you can't act shocked when they fire you. You have to understand your environment. So just the fact that he is perplexed or surprised that they're reeling back his talk time shows you that, once again, what? He's an emotional-based thinker, and he's not a three-dimensional thinker. So he's not going to last long there. They are going to reel him back. They're going to pull his leash, and he's going to have to decide if he wants to leave there or not. Right? He doesn't have the freedom to say, I'm going to strike out on my own. Why is that? Because he's in an indentured servitude contract with his wife called a marriage contract. He can't just quit his job and say, I'm going to start my own website. Or maybe he feels like he can't. Because his wife going to look at him like, nigga, what are you doing? You turning down that guaranteed money to do what? To talk shit on the internet on your own website? Can you guarantee that we're going to get the same income? That's what I mean when I say if you're not built to think like that and do that, then you shouldn't start any type of racial rhetoric on national television. It's just foolish. The controversial Hill famously called President Trump a white supremacist. Well, like I stated in another video, it takes a supremacist to know a supremacist. Because Jemele Hill is a black female supremacist. Yes, she is. And any man affiliated with her has to be a black female supremacist or has to act like one. I believe that the man that she's with now is very slyly maneuvering his way through the minefield, knowing that that's a 45-year-old black woman who's just most likely just happy to have some dick in her life. Long as he doesn't say anything too incendiary, he'll keep getting the coochie and he'll keep getting taken on trips. Because that broad is making high six figures. You know, she takes him all across the world. You know, they going on vacations together to islands. She taking him to the White House and all that shit. You know, when Obama was in the White House, she took him to the White House. So he's playing his cards right. He ain't gonna fuck it up. But he's not marrying a broad. I told you guys that many videos ago. That's one of the first marriage videos I did was when he made the appearance on the His and Hers show. Or Sports Center, whatever that was that he made the appearance. And he basically played her out on national TV. But if she's good with it, that's good. No, some women are just happy just to get some dick and somebody to sit down at the wine bar with them. Nothing wrong with that. Especially if you used up like she is. I mean, shit. But like I said, she is a black female supremacist. All right, that's why she tried to sneak that shit in there about black men being the white people of black people. Okay? And people say, well, she didn't write that. She just retweeted it. Right, because she believes that. And she wanted to see how many liberal black men she can get to co-sign that shit. Let's see here. ESPN initially declined to punish her, but then sidelined her for 2 weeks in October when she violated the company's social media guidelines a second time by calling on fans to boycott the Dallas Cowboys advertisers after owner Jerry Jones told players they would be benched if they did not stand up during the national anthem. Now notice, they suspended her for that. Why? Because that was her second warning. This article claims that she wasn't punished the first time, but she was. It just wasn't publicized. She was put on notice. They most likely told her, look, you're on probation right now. That's punishment. Because basically probation means you have to watch what you say, watch what you type, watch what you do. And she did not even have the wherewithal and the discipline to watch herself, to moderate herself in that time period. Because she's such a damn Twitter victim. She's so caught up in the woke rabbit hole, she had to get into a back and forth on the internet. Oh, well, what you should do is, not spend any money on that sponsor associated with the Cowboys. Normal Marxist business sabotage tactics. Normal shit. Let's see here. Where's the rest of it? There we go. Good Lord, that woman got a face for radio. SC6 was criticized for being an attempt to reach younger, diverse viewers with hot takes and opinions instead of simple highlights, but the ratings never took off with Hill aboard. Well, they never had a chance to take off because as soon as they took over, they jumped on the Kaepernick shit. So they alienated the majority of their viewership from the start. And you never do that. Okay? You don't do that. It's one thing to open up a hamburger stand, but you don't put on your menu, don't eat pizza. Because then you're going to start a war with the pizza people across the street. You don't need to do that. Just exalt your hamburger. Try to promote and sell your hamburger. Don't worry about trying to cut down other shit. You're going to start unnecessary drama. And that's what they did. You never, ever, ever cut out the majority of your constituency. For what? Smith said the duo knew we were going to get shit out of the gate, but they weren't built to take it, and started pushing the panic button before network executives eventually forced changes. Okay, well, hey, at least he admitted they weren't built to deal with all that pressure. That explains why Jemele Hill finally relented and allowed ESPN to reassign her. Because she knew it was too much. And brothers, again, that's what happens when people talk shit and they don't have a real plan. They don't have a real end game. After a while, you can only bluff somebody for so long until you're forced to admit, okay, fine, you got me. I'm not about anything. I'm just a sports reporter. I'm not built to socially engineer society. I'm just jumping on the train that Colin Kaepernick started. Instead of saying no, this is the vision for this show. This is what we're doing. This show is about Michael and Jemele and their opinions and their chemistry, and they're going to do SportsCenter their way. Instead of sticking to that vision, we immediately tried to merge two things, Smith said. It was very frustrating. Well, the reason why you gave up on your vision is because it wasn't panning out for you. You guys thought that you were the two golden children. You thought that because the top Caucasian ESPN brass handpicked you to be the hip new duo, that they were going to tolerate anything that you said. Because I told you guys this from the inception of this channel. Behind every liberal Negro is a liberal Caucasian. And a lot of times the liberal Caucasian will soup the liberal Negro's head up to believe that they actually have the liberty and the freedom to say whatever they want, and they really don't. Like, for example, if Max Kellerman was running ESPN, he's super liberal. He's the type that would hire a so-called black man to be the anchor on a sports center. And he'd call the black man in the office and try to trade rap lyrics with him and show him I'm down. I know Wu-Tang lyrics. I know more Wu-Tang lyrics than you. I know more Rakim lyrics than you. That's what the liberal Caucasian likes to do. He likes to out-nigga a nigga. That Max Kellerman, Michael Rappaport shit. But as soon as they see that you're affecting the bottom line, oh, they're going to reel you back. And they're going to reel you back harder than even a white conservative. Because the white conservative is going to let you know from the start, don't fuck with my money. The white liberal going to make you think that you have a lot of leeway when you don't. So that's why Jemele Hill and Michael Smith started to panic. Because they got called into office by them white liberals and they were shocked by what they heard. Them white liberals told them, Michael and Jemele, we got a call from Donald Trump, or one of his associates, one of his representatives, and we've been told that they're considering auditing our company over you guys' comments. You guys got to reel that shit back. Because if you don't reel it back, we're going to reel you back. Because why else would they be caught up trying to merge different forms of expression on their show? Unless they were told something very drastic along those lines. Why else? Smith said behind the scenes and on camera, ESPN got what they wanted, which was Michael and Jemele being muted, and that frustrated the shit out of us. Well, you guys just sounded frustrated all around. That normally happens when you have $100 worth of mouth and 10 cents worth of knowledge. That's normally what happens. You get frustrated. ESPN has said the decision to move Hill off the program was her choice, but sports talk radio host Clay Travis tweeted that she was booted due to collapsing ratings. Well, for shit, I could have told y'all that. I said that 3-4 months ago. You know, when was it that she was suspended? In October? Where we in now? The middle of February? Yeah, I said that shit about 3 months ago. That they were going to remove her ass. They're going to bring her back, make it look good, and remove her ass. Travis has been in front of all things Hill and speculated that she would be removed from SportsCenter weeks before the decision was announced. Well, shit. Clay Travis, you and me got something in common. Because I said the same damn thing. Sports Illustrated media guru Richard Deitch predicted that Hill's tenure as a SportsCenter anchor was effectively over back in October of 2017. Hey, Richard, I said the same shit. I said the same damn thing. And that was a beautiful thing, too. That was beautiful to see that happen. To see all the silly, simple-minded liberal black men get their hopes crushed when their liberal black goddess was toppled. And in the process of her being toppled, it was revealed what I always tell you brothers about the liberal black woman, that she's not your damn friend. That was beautiful, man. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Hill was reassigned to a new role at The Undefeated, the company's site that covers the intersections of sports and race. In other words, they say, you know what? You go over there with them undefeated field niggas and go go talk your shit with them. All right? We ain't even giving you a laptop. We're going to give you a typewriter. Here. Clickety-clack on that. You know, then talk your race shit over there. You know, your first article could be Black Women, the Gods of Black Men Who Are the White People of Black People by Jemele Hill. The polarizing Hill, 42, once blamed her troubles on media members who accused ESPN of being too liberal for combing through her Twitter replies, looking for anti-Trump comments that will quickly become national news. Did nobody have to comb through your shit? You the one who decided that you were going to make inflammatory comments about the President of the United States. You said that. You are an accredited media member. Period. Even though you're only talking about sports, you have a mouthpiece and you have a platform. So once you decide that you're going to make inflammatory comments like that about Donald Trump being a white supremacist, they're looking at you as someone who should not be on television. You're not a regular citizen. It doesn't matter whether you agree with her or not. If you're Leroy and you work in the mailroom at the hospital, that's totally different from a Jemele Hill who gets TV time every day and can influence people. You have to understand the difference. Donald Trump is a white supremacist who has surrounded himself with other white supremacists, Hill wrote on September 11th. And look at how interesting and ironic that is, that she wrote that on September 11th. She called him the most ignorant, offensive president of my lifetime. Look, I stated this earlier, and I've mentioned this before on this channel. The liberal black woman loves to use that term ignorant. Whenever someone says something that is against her quote-unquote sensibilities, which is normally leans toward liberalism, meaning women above men, homosexuals above heterosexuals, things like that. The liberal black woman loves to call people ignorant. The term ignorant literally means to not know. So when the liberal black woman calls you ignorant, she's basically saying that you don't know something. You should, the next time a liberal black woman calls you ignorant, if you decide that you want to engage her, which I wouldn't recommend, but if you do, ask her what the term ignorant means. She doesn't know, which means that she's ignorant to what the term ignorant means. But as a rule, I don't go back and forth with the so-called black woman. Once they decide, liberal black woman or any woman, but once they decide that they want to get into that, I just tell them have a nice day. That shit is beneath me. But anyway, Hill also called Trump a bigot and unqualified and unfit to be president. She added, if he were not white, he never would have been elected. Well, what are you saying about the election process, Jemele Hill? What are you saying about the people who voted for Donald Trump? You're saying that the vast majority of people in America are overtly racist. So what are you saying about America? Why would you have hope in a society that you believe is, for the most part, overtly racist? And would align himself with a white supremacist. That means that you must have a mental disorder, Jemele Hill, because you have hope in a society that you believe is based in white supremacy. So that must mean that you want love from a white supremacist or from a white supremacist society, which means that you want that hug. All right, brothers, do you see why I say the things that I say about these liberal Negroes? All these niggas, they just want the hug, man. Let's see. Let me read it again. Hill also called Trump a bigot and unqualified and unfit to be president. She added, if he were not white, he never would have been elected. She admitted in October that she cried in a meeting because her comments made ESPN become a punching bag, but she doesn't regret what was said. Well, what was she crying in the meeting for? What was being told to her in the meeting that made her feel that bad? And beside that, isn't she a strong black woman? What the hell is she crying for? No, she's a strong black woman. They better have been cutting onions in front of her face or something. That's the only reason why I could think that she was crying. Because we know the strong liberal black women, they don't cry. They don't cry, they multiply. Let me see here. Hill's anti-Trump comments caught the attention of the White House and Press Secretary Sarah Sanders, who said she considered the rhetoric a fireable offense. I remember that was the first video that I did on Jemele Hill, was during this situation where Sarah Huckabee Sanders made that statement, and there was a couple of simple ass, corny ass, liberal pro-black dudes, and a lot of times the liberal pro-black dudes, they like to hide behind their liberalism. They like to act like they just trying to have a discussion with you about why you're talking about a quote-unquote strong black woman. This is before Jemele Hill's statements co-signing the black man being the white people of black people. So a lot of black men were charged up off of Jemele Hill statements. They were trying to go back and forth with me, and I told them that Sarah Sanders was pretty much speaking of her own accord, but she was saying what she thought Donald Trump would say. And they were trying to make an equivalency between what Sarah Sanders said and what Jemele Hill stated, not understanding, because of the flawed attempt at logic that most liberal Negroes have, that Sarah Sanders is speaking from a political perspective and Jemele Hill is a sports journalist. She's not supposed to be speaking politically. And I tried to make them understand that Donald Trump would threaten ESPN with tax levies. But emotional niggas don't understand that. But you know, it's all come out now. It is what it is. Trump even got involved himself, mocking Hill and ESPN's lackluster ratings. With Jemele Hill at the mic, it is no wonder ESPN ratings have tanked. In fact, tanked so badly, it is the talk of the industry, Trump tweeted on October 10th, 2017, and I believe he's correct. Hill has been outspoken on various political issues and currently has a pair of photos of herself with President Obama pinned atop her Twitter feed, a clear indication that she wants her liberal views to be public knowledge. That's right, she wants to know what her affiliations, she wants everyone to know what her political affiliations are, what her ideological affiliations are. That's why I told you, brothers. She's going to stay at ESPN for a while, play out her contract, and then eventually she's going to try to parlay it into some socio-political position at MSNBC or CNN. Watch for that. Okay? She's not going to be talking sports for too long. That's why they're moving her over to the Undefeated. That's why she wants to go there. Or that's why she agreed to go there when they told her that's where she was going. Because she wants to introduce herself as a political writer, as a socio-political writer, so that she can garner up some steam for her move to MSNBC or CNN. Watch for that. Or some type of news channel that's speaking about those type of issues, non-sports related. Last month, Hill mocked the new XFL for declaring that the league will be free of political issues, but will also force players to stand for the national anthem. She has also appeared on MSNBC since being reassigned by ESPN. Oh, there you go. There you go. Didn't I tell you, brothers, man? And accused Trump of using racial pornography to rally his voting base. That's normal liberal nonsensical terms that they just make up, pull out their ass. Racial pornography. She don't even know what the fuck that mean. I bet you when she said it or when she typed it out, she probably giggled to herself. She said, they don't like that one. You know how them 40-year-old, 45-year-old liberal black chicks laugh like they got a piece of ham stuck in their damn throat, like they got a piece of pork stuck in their larynx. It says here, ESPN declined comment. Yeah, of course they declined comment. They trying to cut strings with this bitch. They're like, damn, we gave her ass a guaranteed contract. We thought she was going to, bring a little young black audience to our channel. This bitch is causing an implosion over here. She like the black female version of Colin Kaepernick with a weave in a damn head. Like shit. And Michael Smith, he's almost finished. But that's what he get for following behind a liberal black woman. But we'll see what occurs down the line with this story. I'm pretty sure that Michael Smith is going to end up somewhere else very soon. But anyway, peace.